Hello everyone, I'm your host Mark Ion, and welcome to the very first episode of What's in the Box, the show where I unbox board games to show you what you get for your hard-earned money. The very first game we're going to cover is called AquaSphere by Tasty Minstrel Games. Now, I've already opened AquaSphere. I could lie and tell you that I did it to make it easier so I could show you everything. Truth is, when I got the game, I was so excited, I didn't even think about unboxing it, and I popped everything out and set everything up. So, it is going to make things easier, but I don't know if I'll be doing that again in the future. So, let's open the game. Now, I want to say, the very first thing I noticed when I opened the game, I saw probably one of my favorite things. It had a bag of bags on top, which means it has bags. All the bags you see here were included with the game. I didn't have to go out and buy bags. I didn't have to use sandwich baggies or anything. And I recommend everyone do that. I mean, I think it's personally my favorite way to keep pieces together. Now, a lot of games like Lords of Waterdeep and Small World, they have trays. But I can tell you, even with Lords of Waterdeep, which everything is exactly set for each exact piece, I've had car trips that I stopped too fast or something, and pieces are everywhere. I'm not sure I have all my coins and victory point pieces because they went everywhere. So I highly recommend anyone who makes a game include a bag of baggies. My favorite thing ever. So first we got the rules. We'll put them to the side for now. We got our board. Well, our first board. It's made up of 6 of these tiles. Makes a rough hexagon. Each tile exactly the same except for the little symbol here with the mystery robot. This one has a black symbol. This is yellow for time, etc. They're pretty cool. Then we have the second board, which is for scorekeeping and keeping track of what programs you can make that turn. That's pretty cool. We've got our player boards. Each player board color-coded with the submarines and pieces of their people. It's a pretty nice individualistic touch. I like that. Now we have little hexagon pieces for the center of the board. Each of them has what comes out that turn, and gives a little variation because you don't actually put this the same direction every round. We also have the little tokens here for the second board to mark where the programs are. We got the little player boards. There's 6 of them, so there's a little variation. Each one has exactly the same thing except for the letter. The letters come into play during scoring. That's kind of cool. Now we each have the pieces. I wanted to go over the pieces real quick because it's actually pretty cool. This game actually has its own individualized meeples. You got your little robots, which are really kind of cool. Little R2-D2-like things. They have 3 little wheels. Kind of looks like an R2 robot. We have 2 scientists. Well, really a scientist and an engineer, but they look exactly alike. I mean, they're not on the same board, so it really doesn't make a difference. I would have liked to have seen something slightly different between the 2 of them, but it's not a big deal. Then we have the cute little submarines. I like them. They turned out pretty well. Definitely tell that's a submarine. And then the only boring one is the ones that keep track of your victory points. They're just squares, but understandable. It's just victory points. Spent all their budget on all the other meeples. And that comes in white, yellow, red, and blue. Your traditional board game colors, pretty much, with slight variation. Maybe orange instead of one of them. So that's pretty nice. These off aside for now. Got time tokens. They're used for buying things as well as moving. They're pretty cool. Look like little stopwatches, antique, like pocket watches, stopwatches things, and very nautical themed. Pretty cool. Now we got the programming cards and the enhancement cards. So we got the different starting, how you start out, cards, show you if you have 2 players, what the players get versus what all the other empty things get. You put in some neutral submarines and stuff for the to mimic other players being there. It's kind of cool. You get 41 of these enhancements cards, little red back. They correspond to the red action. They each give you little abilities. Some of them have continuous abilities that happen all the time. Others have like once per round abilities. Some have the lightning symbol, means they're like one-time use. You do it now and not throw it out because you have to keep it for scoring, but you don't get to use it again. And so, I mean, there's 41 of the... Oh, and then there's ones that happen at the end of every turn. At the pause symbol. So that's pretty cool. Evie's chewing something beneath the table. Evie! Put that down. It's probably some kind of food bag. The 41 of these, you use 6 each round. There are 3 rounds, so 18 over the course of a game. Gives you a good amount of variation. It's pretty good replay value. Then we have the little programming cards. Got 7 of those. Different ways to set up the programming board. You see how at the bottom you start out with the 2, and then 2 more, and then if you notice, like this, the octopus can only reach the crystal or the time symbol, where the submarine can only reach the like the lab enhancements and the time. So it makes your choices really matter. You have to think way down the line. That's the thing I like. There's 7 cards, but they're both front and back. So really 14 different setups. That's kind of cool. Then we have the lab enhancement pieces. Like the red ones, you get 6 of these placed around at the beginning of each round. So you use 18 of these. You got 30 of them. Pretty nice. Nice cardboard. I think it's a little weird that the cards are cardstock and everything else is board thickness, but I can understand. There's 41 of these, there's only 30 of those. They probably ran out of money for all the cardstock. Now, the last 2 pieces that I'm going to show you, they're probably my 2 favorite. First, you have the crystals that you collect. They're these little tiny rock things. They're kind of shiny in the light. I mean, you might say, hey, that doesn't look like a crystal, it's black, but that's what a crystal would look like when you dig it out of the ground. It's kind of cool. Then probably my absolute favorite piece in the entire game, definitely my wife's favorite piece, the octopod meeple. Cute little meeple, has 4 little tentacles for the side. It's nice thickness, a little thinner than a normal meeple, but not by much. Can still stand up on its own. I think they're pretty cool. I like them. Yep, so that's what's in the box. I'm going to now set the board up and show you what everything looks like after it's all set up. I'll see you in a bit. Okay everyone, I have the game set up as a 2-player game, but I only set up the first person's pieces because it would be a little less to make it a little less confusing. I do want to mention I misspoke earlier. There are actually 4 rounds, not 3 rounds. I realized that as I was setting it up. So it's 24 of each. There's actually quite a few of the green tiles, actually, because you only have 30 of those. But it still gives it a good variation. So as you can see here, we have our first player set up that matches our card over here, where it says the first and two players get 1 scientist, 1 sub, a crystal, and an octopod, and 4 timepieces. So as you can see in his location, we've got 1 octopod, 1 crystal, 4 timepieces here in a stack, and his scientist and a sub. Then we have, it says different random things here. I randomized them by pulling out different bases. He picked his base. You see here it has a letter B on it. That corresponds here to the little base he picked. It also set up what robot he starts out with. See how it's green there? That's because the mystery symbol here is on B is the green one. So that's kind of cool. Your starting tile decides a lot throughout the game. You can see the game takes up a lot of space. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. Or zoom out. New camera, sorry. So, it takes up a decent amount of table space. You need a fairly big table to do this. Each player needs their own area to keep their stuff. So, we're talking pretty big space. So, you'll see here the center tile. Now, this center tile, I have it facing up, so it's easier for people to see, but really you can rotate it any way you want. It could be like that. It could be like that. It really doesn't matter. That adds a little more to the game, random-wise, so that's kind of cool. Over here I have the other player set up without the player's pieces. You'll notice each area looks exactly the same. Has the red card, has the lab extension, a research card, that's what they're called, research card. Time, octopod, crystal, and the mystery one, that is different. Yeah, and so that is the setup. You'll see yellow subs. They're neutral subs. They really have no effect during the game other than they make subs in that area more expensive and limit the number of subs you can put there. So, and then you have your programming square. The only thing I have to say, visually it's stunning, except this programming square on mine, the one I got, you can see it doesn't quite line up. Like, it becomes more apparent when you pull these out. It really doesn't quite match up. It's a little graphic problem. I don't know if that's just my game or if all of them were cut like that, but other than that, it's a beautiful game. And I can't wait to play it. I got it a little while ago, but just haven't had time to play it. It's a fairly long game, and I've just been really busy. I can't wait to play. So that's AquaSphere. The retail value is $50. I definitely think you get your money's worth. You get plenty of custom meeples, plenty of cardboard pieces, 2 boards. I think it's a great value, personally. I haven't gotten to play it yet, so I can't judge it on that quite yet. But it looks like a really fun game and sounds awesome. I can't wait to play it. Yeah, so that's all for this episode of What's in the Box. Please remember to share, like, and subscribe. And as always, remember to stay geeky.